it was such a distinct shift that happened at 25, where I was just like, this is the point in most people's career where they really like ramp it up, they turn it up, and they like put themselves out there on this whole new level. And I, at that moment, just went, I'm going to turn everything down. Mm-hmm. I'm going to go very still. I'm going to go very inward, and I'm going to see where that leads, because that's what the voice in my head is like suggesting I do. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I just had like this huge shift, and it opened me up. The shift came first, and then just after the shift, I unlocked all of these gifts I didn't even know I had, and I realized I was a powerful energy healer, mm-hmm. and that no one had even taught me to be one. I just found that I had that ability to like work on a person's system energetically through the realization I could do that for myself inwardly. And it took life in this total other direction, where all of a sudden this thing I had been leading with, like my skill as a dancer and the success I'd created so far in my career, I realized, it's not about continuing to expand and go in that direction and like make it in this industry. It's actually about tying, like extracting the skills that I've brought online in myself out of that career choice and using it to like create something that sits even closer to my essence. And I started building a energetic healing and mentoring business back like around about that time, which changed everything. Yeah.
Wow. Welcome to Cosmic Batter. I'm Carla, and I have no idea what is going on. This podcast has been evolving faster than I can keep up, but that's essentially what it's about. We talk about reality. What is reality really made of? And essentially, I don't necessarily have any answers for you. Welcome and enjoy. Hi everyone, welcome back to Cosmic Batter. I'm your host Carla, and today I'm here with my friend Jessie Oshodi. So Jessie and I were just hanging out today, going to the beach, talking about everything and anything. And Jessie was like, you know what, I really want to talk about frequency and embodiment and finding success through frequency. And I was like, bitch, that is what I want to talk about. That's all I've been working on lately. So we just decided to record today. And our background as well, like our friend Naomi connected us a few years ago. Jessie's a healer as well. I've had a session with Jessie, which really helped me out. And us hanging out today, we're just realizing like kind of how many things we have in common. So I low-key feel like this has been coming for sure. Coming. Yeah. So welcome.
Thank you. Good to be here. Yeah, it's like my favorite topic of discussion, really. Or like, it's not necessarily my favorite topic, but I think whenever I'm relating with someone who is also like really frequency aware like I am, it's just like the starting point of where the conversation could go is so tea. It's just so spot on.
Yeah, definitely talking about frequency and that embodiment is something that I try and show people through my work. So like I so deeply relate, and it's like so few people are really living and breathing that, because it does require like so much courage, because we've been taught to be successful, to do things like one step at a time, to build something, to gather resources, or like you need money first before you can do the thing. So it kind of goes against like the whole flow of society.
Fully. Because you're trusting in a deepening into your own inner current.
Oh, heads up everyone, the dog might bark. So we'll do our best with him, but if he barks, you just have to accept that.
But that work of like having to trust the way that you feel so connected to yourself, and that you're able to keep showing up as this like deeper and deeper embodiment of who you really are, and finding that you can stabilize there. That's what you're taking as your marker for success, rather than, you know, a whole list of 3D points that would prove that to you. It's like, what would it mean to like prioritize staying in that place energetically and trusting that you can if you build from that place, you're going to end up in the center of the experience of success anyway. But it's sort of like getting to that point in reverse, where it's like, it's not because you've got these things that you can then feel good, or you can feel like you, or you feel like you unlock the ability to showcase who you are, and like people can feel your frequency because there's these things they can connect with that you've put in place. It's like, no, it's me in my frequency, and anything that comes my way is because of a direct response to me living there, and that's my anchor, and so that's why it comes.
Yeah, it's that thing of like knowing it before it happens.
Yeah.
And I think almost like why it's important is because when you're looking outside of yourself for that success, there's always more, of course. It's never ending, and so you're never actually grasping that knowing of success, no matter how much you get, because it's not where you are, or trying to get somewhere with your energy, but then being like, but your energy is actually always here. The success point starts actually here within before you can feel it. Like, it does come from within. Before, I feel like we could just go back and forth on this forever. Like, we're going to dive into it, obviously, but can you maybe tell us a little bit about your background, because this is something you've almost known like forever.
My background. So I guess I maybe like something that's both a strength but also something that's been hard to make work for me because of where we find ourselves, like, you know, in the world right now. Like, it's expensive to live, let's just say. Like, that's probably a good way to describe what makes it hard. I've just always felt like success for me always felt like I need the inner markers that I'm succeeding. It occurred to me as early as like 25 was when that really like made sense to me, and I was like, oh yeah, that's definitely true, that any external measure of success didn't matter to me if inwardly I felt out of alignment to keep up with that success. And I started to really see success as this like current that I was chasing, because my background is I used to be a professional dancer, and it was like if I wanted to keep succeeding, I could see that there was just like, it felt like there were certain sacrifices that I was going to have to make, and that those sacrifices were it's like other people saw them as like necessary sacrifices that they had to make so they could get to their career to the next point. And I just realized I did not have that. I didn't have that same, I guess at the time I thought it was a lack of ambition. It just didn't make sense to me. It didn't feel true for me to like do that. So I stopped kind of caring or focusing about what happened in my career. And I completely 180'd and just went, I've got to create an inward experience of success. And I found that I could do that. I could only do that in the now, that it wasn't something I had to go and do all these things to achieve. I just had to like plug into literally like how it felt to be inside my body in this moment. So I was like dabbling in being a career girl when I was doing my dance career. And I really feel like there was this distinct shift that occurred. It was like specifically at the top of 2015 where I just went, at what expense am I succeeding? And I literally stopped trying in any kind of like normal 3D way to get ahead. And just I started to open up and like listen to my own intuitive guidance, which was telling me the opposite of what any, you know, mentor in my life was telling me, or like not mentor, but like, you know, someone in my life that was at a level beyond where I was at. Like it just occurred to me to stop listening to that and to listen inwardly. And it was so interesting because I just stopped sort of planning my expansion from outside of me and just started to go, well, what is this kind of sometimes quiet, sometimes intangible, but when I can connect to it very loud, like inner voice telling me to do? And it was literally like, stop looking outside, start looking inside, and start connecting all those dots. I haven't revealed a lot about my background there, but
okay.
Basically I came into this life, always knew I wanted to be a dancer. That was like the single desire I could find. Like, oh, there were like two desires, like be a dancer and also like become someone who really helps people. And it's like anything extra other than those two things just suddenly became like intolerable to me. And so it was such a distinct shift that happened at 25, where I was just like, this is the point in most people's career where they really like ramp it up, they turn it up, and they like put themselves out there on this whole new level. And I, at that moment, just went, I'm going to turn everything down. I'm going to go very still. I'm going to go very inward, and I'm going to see where that leads, because that's what the voice in my head is like suggesting I do. So yeah, I just had like this huge shift, and it opened me up. The shift came first, and then just after the shift, I unlocked all of these gifts I didn't even know I had, and I realized I was a powerful energy healer, and that no one had even taught me to be one. I just found that I had that ability to like work on a person's system energetically through the realization I could do that for myself inwardly. And it took life in this total other direction, where all of a sudden this thing I had been leading with, like my skill as a dancer and the success I'd created so far in my career, I realized, oh, it's not about continuing to expand and go in that direction and like make it in this industry. It's actually about tying, like extracting the skills that I've brought online in myself out of that career choice and using it to like create something that sits even closer to my essence. And I started building a energetic healing and mentoring business back like around about that time, which changed everything. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, it's such a drastic shift. Our paths, like, they're different, but I've spoken before how I did musical theatre, and then I was like, why am I pushing so hard? Like, I like singing, and like, I'm tired of auditioning. And it's so strange how, for me, it's like, that's all that existed for so long, and then there's like a pinnacle that you'll never reach, like where, you know, other people that were dancing since they were born, and like I started dancing late and my singing could be better or this or that. And now that I haven't been in a competitive environment for ages, I'm like, oh, I actually am a good singer, and I did that. I actually ticked that box of that soul experience, and then it was on to the next thing, even if it wasn't taking it all the way. Yeah, and then like you've got these other skills now that are like a deeper part of your essence from that work.
Absolutely. And like, I remember being a student in dance college, and I would often feel quite despondent, and I didn't quite understand why, but I thought I was being despondent. But what I realized retrospectively is that I just kept sort of like piercing time and seeing that what I was doing was not going to equate to this big flashy career for me. That it was going to equate to the cultivation of this really sincere practice, like energetic practice that incorporated dance. And so it's like it made me shift my understanding or interpretation of why I felt so drawn to being a dancer. It wasn't about that. It was about these resources I was tapping into inside myself that I could then use to share with others and use it as a way to give back, which is hilarious, because when you're the dancer, it's all about you getting on the stage and like you being the performer. Yeah, it's like you versus the audience, and that is like the opposite of like how I found it's actually true for me. What actually feels true for me to interact with others is this far more like interactive, interpersonal communicative community experience, which is like literally the opposite of where I thought dance was taking me. So it's interesting we have that in common. Yeah,
it's amazing. Like you'd think that the arts, or maybe in the past judgments about it, you think that it's like airy fairy or fake or not intelligent work. And then I look back, I'm like, I learned so much and like evolved my consciousness through those practices, and like being in the body, or even acting and aware of your energy body and the subtle communications. And then now we're both healers, and I'm like, you couldn't have taught me that in a textbook, but like by playing games almost, like, yeah, you develop all these other senses. It's pretty amazing.
Truly.
Okay, but so how did your life change then once you started to go inwards, you're starting to connect the dots, you're seeing a different type of success come around? I don't know, I guess, like, why is that important for you to talk about now? Like, you see this in other people, or like you want to change this?
Yeah. Because I think what I really notice in people is quite often when they're like strapped into like this thing that's supposed to give them success, or just like position them somewhere within society that feels good for them, like what I see happening, because I've always like seen sort of like the energetic toll that things have on people. I just have always seen things that way. I saw that if a lot of people that were on that path ended up forgetting about and leaving behind all these things that were so like essentially them. And then, you know, we see this so much with people where it's just like what they're doing doesn't get to include any of this stuff back here that's actually the stuff that's most meaningful. And then you just end up with this sort of like being almost like feeling like you're being pulled apart, or like you're being asked to go there, but there's like a resistance point, and so but then you keep going, and then what happens to a person when they're strapped into something that doesn't allow them to remain in their truth is so devastating. Like, it's just, to me, that was always just like too sad. Like, and I feel like it's just so short-sighted. Like, what does the world become if like the majority of its population are doing that? Like, what are we creating? And like, we could see that, like,
yeah, literally,
there's a lot of shit out there that's just like so destructive for the planet and for our health. And so I just have always felt like the greatest well, not always, but like I have come to find over the course of my life that feels like the greatest contribution I can make is to not be one of those people. And then even if I just did that, I'd be really super satisfied for myself inwardly. But what I've also found is that the more I've prioritized that for myself, the more I've become available to be a point of like true assistance to others. And to me, that's just like the most valuable use of my life. And I want to help others who also feel similarly inclined to choose that for themselves. So it feels like, for me, making a difference and I guess giving back to earth.
Legit though.
That's a bit dramatic, but like I do honestly feel that way. I feel on purpose when I'm just prioritizing not splitting myself into all these parts, because all of me can't exist in the role I've chosen, in the roles I'm choosing to be in.
Yeah, and you said the word in there, like, short-sighted. That really jumped out to me. And I so agree, because I never understood it either. Like, when I was young, I'd be like, all right, I'll have this job for this moment to get to the next thing. But when I had, like, a couple of casual jobs, dancing, like, trying to pay my bills or pay for study and pay for my car and my insurance and all these things, and I was like, this budget doesn't add up. Like, I have 3 jobs that pay reasonable amounts, and they actually don't cover my basic living expenses.
Yeah.
And I'd be like, I do not understand how people are buying houses off of this stuff. Obviously, if someone had a full-time job, it's slightly different, but the energy always said to me, like, that is just not sustainable.
Yeah.
and even with an increase in income, then there's an increase in expenses, and like, what are you really paying, especially long term, to like put so much time into just the stability of it, and then the cost of, like you said, that pulling apart of like your actual essence, or like only a part of you can progress and the other part of you has to stay behind. And yeah, it's short-sighted. Like, we have a whole 50, 70, 80 more years to go. Are you just gonna like, what is the compound interest of that sort of investment that's pulling apart your essence, and there's not a lot of like material results?
Yeah.
I also feel that the change in energy that's happening currently is making that really unavoidable. Like, maybe in the past, with the energies we had before, that sort of self-sacrifice did have greater material rewards, and now a lot of people are like, what the fuck, this isn't adding up. You said that if I did this job I would be here, that's not adding up anymore. And I'm like, the budget never worked for me, so like, I'm glad other people are at least seeing that now.
Yeah, because it's like, if you're working really hard and you're making all this money, but the expense is you're in burnout, like, almost all the time, then your resources are wasted, because you're spending all this money you wouldn't have to spend in the first place if you weren't living on the cusp of burning out. So I think there's like, we were speaking about this before, like, it's hard because you want to be able to participate in society, and you want to be able to take trips, you want to be able to go to the movies, you want to be able to afford air travel, like, you know, you want to be able to participate in the things that make being on Earth super fun. But if you also don't want to do that at the expense of losing connection to yourself and keeping yourself as like a whole and integrated, balanced person who truly emits their frequency, there is this like period of time where you sort of have to just go, all right, like, I'm breaking the momentum to focus on something I can see as important. But it's like, I think I definitely noticed this the minute that I declared that by my actions, but also I'm vocal, and I was vocal about my change. I wanted people to know I was happy sharing about it. But it was met with an unimagineable amount of resistance and unsolicited advice and just like criticism, but like just projection of fear. Just so much projection of fear. Like, I remember when I first started to share about being like, yeah, I was really focused on my career going to the next level, but then I just thought, I think my value is in maintaining my frequency, and my value is in feeling like myself all the fucking time. People would start to tell me why that was not going to work, and I noticed I would just sort of sit there listening, because what kept happening was they'd begin by telling me how that wasn't a good idea for me, but then they'd end up really in this self-reflection loop, and I realized they were just telling me exactly why they were too afraid to do the exact same thing. Because I kind of feel like inherently, maybe I'm wrong, but people feel that. They feel the disservice they're actually doing to themselves with the way that they're attempting to succeed. And when I say short-sighted, it's like they're just pulling themselves so thin that like there's gonna have to be breaks eventually. And obviously, like, those breaks probably aren't gonna like be noticeable until later, when in a way it's sort of like too late. When I say too late, I just mean like, if you keep going in that way when there's a part of you saying, don't do it, when it eventually breaks, like, there's so much more that you're going to lose. Yeah. Than if you do it like earlier in life, at a time that doesn't like make sense to do it. Also, like, you don't have to do it early in life for it to be like...
Whatever feels right for you.
It's never too late. But like, I don't know, I guess I really do feel like the sooner the better. Because I don't think that, I mean, I don't know what it's like in anybody else's head but mine, but I can't imagine that nagging feeling of, this is sort of feels a little bit self-destructive. Like, I can't imagine that that's not there.
Yeah.
And I also can't imagine that that doesn't get louder the longer you ignore it.
Yeah, and when you talk about like, obviously it's never too late for anyone, but when lives and pathways become being established, like you can always change, you can change your karma, all these things, but like if you have kids, if you've been married, if there's another person involved, if you own a house, that's where the shocks can just be harder to absorb. But everybody can, as we say, but that when like life paths become more established, it's actually harder. And because I felt that as well, like after building up my fitness business and, you know, making a bunch of money and stuff, and then I was like, oh, well, this isn't sustainable, so I'm just gonna stop and change right now. And I remember my parents were like, what? But wait, you have built this. And I was literally like, if I just jump ship right fucking now, I will be poor for a minute and I will rebuild it like quick smart. But if I dabble around, I'll try and keep my fitness business going, even though I'm not interested in it anymore, and I'll kind of try and do this other thing on the side. Like, it would just take so much longer. And every person will be different. That's just how I wanted to function. But I feel like I'm really starting to see the rewards of that now, and like, oh, thank God I just hurried up and jumped that ship then, because now like I'm in a place where I can travel and like live this lifestyle that I kind of dreamed about like 5 years ago, 4 years ago, 5 years ago. What else I was gonna add there?
Like, it does take time to, I guess, like something. We don't want to sound delusional. We want to keep it real. Like, it's not like the results of making this kind of change are instantaneous in any way, shape, or form. Like, it's not like it's the cheat code. Like, it sort of is a cheat code, but it's not.
It's not like overnight.
It's not overnight at all. Like, it's still work.
Yeah.
It's just that it feels like the kind of work that you get to benefit from. I think there's a lot to benefit from, even though it's work. It's like good work. You know, when you're working hard and it's just like, you get money, but like everything else is out of whack. It's like, this sort of focus gives you so much instant gratification in a way, or like instant boosts because you're with yourself.
It's present.
It's present, yeah.
Earlier, like I mentioned how I've read this book, Busting Loose from the Money Game, multiple times, and it talks about how if you stop trying to chase money, you stop trying to hoard and hold on to money, and you realize like it's all just a part of this creative game that we play. So you're not giving it power anymore. And it says how like when you trust that and flow with what feels right to you, you still work. We say that you still take action, but doing what feels right to you, then what you need will come. And with that, such an important part of this process is knowing that you will have enough. So it might not look like it did before. You might be, investing into your frequency and your health and your emotional well-being, and then being like, bitch, where the fuck is the money? But if you're not getting it right away, you're not supposed to, and you have what you need. And so Jessie and I were both talking about this, and I was saying like, I at the moment have this amazing lifestyle that I love, and I'm traveling and I'm staying places for free, looking after pets, which I enjoy doing. My business is online. I get to DJ. I do readings and healings and stuff. And I'm like, I'd actually love more clients and more money. I'd love for there to be, more of that. But there's no rush because I literally always have enough for what I need. But those moments in between clients for me, however long it is, all these profound things are happening. And it's the embodiment of like, okay, I get to have this incredible lifestyle regardless of, say, income. and I can hold that frequency, and that is why people
Yeah.
work with me. So I get paid to do what I want to do. There's always enough, and more will come eventually, but like I'm not trying to get money from this thing right now, because it's in the being present and the feeling successful now, all the needs are actually met anyway.
Right. And the arrival of what you know you want next, you know that it's not going to come a moment before you could actually hold it. And I feel like that's one of like the greatest gains of like being like really frequency focused. If things aren't coming, like you say, there's actually, the invitation is somewhere else. The invitation is somewhere else inside of you. It's like, oh, I really want, but that's not what's here. So then what is here? And then there you are, like dealing with the present data of this actual moment and connecting to what that's asking of you or what that's providing you with, you know, and you don't miss any of those things, you know. And then it's almost like you get rewarded in this beautiful way for actually listening to what the invitation is in each moment. And it means that the timing of anything new that comes in feels perfect. And perfect as in, fuck, I have the exact requisite energy for that thing that's now come. Like, it doesn't force me to up level because now it's here. Or it doesn't like make me go, oh shit, I've been so focused on this, but now this is here, so I'm going to put that down, pick that up. You know, you don't have that. It's like everything feels like, and then the next thing, and then the next thing. And so, you know, that over years of time is going to do wonders for your health, your relationships, the process of aging, like all the good things.
Life is so much nicer when you go with the flow. I'm like, if anyone's not watching, I'm like nodding my head vigorously, like, she's on the money. Like, this podcast is such a perfect example. I was saying to Jessie today how I work, but I go with the flow. I do things when they feel right for me. And for me personally, I've had to evolve from, in the past, I had a very rigid schedule.
Yeah.
And now I've learned going with the flow is better, and things get done properly when I go with the flow. And like, I love to podcast. And last year I was like, you know what? I'm going to podcast every week. Did that for 3 weeks, but then it wasn't meant for me anymore. To be so clear, some people's energy is different, but that is how my energy functions. And then I just did the astrology podcast, met this woman from LA, happened within 24 hours. Such a potent episode that I loved. And then Jessie and I hanging out. I had completely other plans today, and this has just landed so naturally, perfectly. We have a beautiful space. We have privacy. We're not being like, it literally couldn't have slotted in any better than that.
Yeah.
And I knew last year when I was resting, I had terrible like physical pain last year, and my body, I just had to rest. And my mind was like, well, but how am I going to get clients? What if I'm not telling people about my sessions? What if I'm not podcasting? Like, it's literally insanity to just rest for that long and expect people to just come. But I just thought, I feel like my body is preparing for something, like both releasing past stuff, but also I don't know what I'm resting for.
Yeah.
And this year I've been like, I have this burning desire like to share more. And but you know, 5 years ago I would have invited all these different people onto the podcast, just like, oh, you've got a story, you just inviting random people on. But there's like an energy that of it being manufactured. And now this landing today, and I'm like, this is exactly what I'm passionate about. This is exactly right for my podcast. And yeah, there's like all this courage that's required at the start to not listen to the mind and to trust your own decisions. But the more that you practice, the more like flowy and easeful it does become.
Yeah. And definitely, I think like, I don't know what, this is what I'm thinking when you're sharing that, like, sort of the difference between, like, setting up all this infrastructure to arrive in so that you can, like, be doing the things you want to do, as opposed to, like, just prioritizing essentially, like, self-care and, like, connection to the self. And then just finding that as you go about the day that you've created an opportunity to do exactly what you'd like to have done. You didn't even have to plan it. Mm-hmm. It's like it can just like come to you. And that's sort of the difference, isn't it? Like going to it, or like setting things up so that it can happen, versus being like, if it's something I desire, it's already making its way to me. Mm-hmm. So if I just rest up, I'll be in tip-top shape when it gets here.
Literally.
Yeah. And like this conversation that we've decided to record, we were already having it.
We were already talking.
And then we were like, and I expressed my desire to like, I was like, people need to hear us saying these words. And it's so organic. Like,
you were literally, sorry.
No, it's fine.
You were like, you know what? I really want to talk about embodying your frequency for success. And I was like, bitch, let me get my microphone.
Yeah, it's too good.
Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, it coming to you, yes. Because even a few years ago, I was working with like mentors and like a business mentor as well. And she also was spiritual and a healer, and like we had a lot in common. And both of us, the mentor and I, we both would love to speak on stages about this work. Like, and kind of can see that. Like I see with my podcast and my teaching, like I would love to be teaching to like wider audiences at some point. And at the time, she was like, you should go and look up where you can do speaking events like in Melbourne and apply. And I was like, I'll look. And I had Googled speaking events, and they all just felt so dry or like really corporate, but so not related to whatever I would want to talk about. And I was just like, something about this is not feeling right. Like, I see myself speaking on a stage at some point, but the first thing that came to mind is I realized a lot of my knowledge I was repeating from my teachers. And like, yes, I had built my business and made money and then transitioned into flow, but I actually was still the fundamentals that I had just been told how to do. So I was like, I don't really want to get on stage at this moment and just repeat what I've been told by others. Like it's still not enough of my own way. And the second thing, I couldn't put my finger on it for ages. And then I was like, you know what? I want to be invited on stage somewhere. I don't want to apply to go to an event. And like, it just didn't, like, I would like to do my own thing, hone my craft, have a background, not to prove anything, but to have my work, and then people be like, this is so amazing, will you come and share it?
Yeah. Or
like, hey, I really love your podcast, would you like to come and speak? And I'd be like, yes.
I fully see that for you.
Thank you.
Definitely.
Yeah, that would be fun. Yeah. It would just be fun.
It makes me think about like how one thing you gain from living this way is you sort of do develop the ability to sort of pierce time and see what's going to happen if you keep going. And that's like, that actually feels like magic. Like, obviously it takes time to build trust in that's real and not you being delusional. And obviously the only way you really grow confident in having that as an ability is you end up seeing that the things you pierce and see yourself doing do eventuate. They do come. I'd be like, but sometimes it takes years. Like the way I'm living right now, I saw myself, the way I'm living right now is I'm nomadic, I travel as a healer and I go to different locations, and when I'm there, I'm available for energetic bodywork sessions as opposed to the mentoring that I do, all the time online. But I just announce where I'm going to be, and then people book sessions with me and I get to like rock up in the place, and I've already paid to go there because people have already booked in, and then I get to go and I get to do the work, and it's really transformative, and I love it, and it's incredible, and then I get to just be there for as long as I like before going to the next place. And I saw myself living that way in a meditation that I did in 2018.
Wow.
And I've only just like arrived. It took that long.
Yeah.
It took that long, but it's been amazing. And like the work between then and now has brought me into such deep connection with myself, and I like the person I am now, like it feels so good. And it's like I get to feel so good so often, and it's just amazing that like I'm achieving this goal that I had, and this like dream that I hoped could come true, but I haven't had to do it at the expense of my health or my desire either. Like it's taken a while, but it's worth it because I'm whole and I have it.
Yeah.
What the fuck? Plus, now I know I can pierce time.
Yeah. It's like, that's amazing. And that whole journey, I imagine, is the part that makes it kind of the most fun. Like, because even, say, 8 years ago, if you're like, I just want to be a traveling healer, like or in my personal experience, I would not have had the nervous system capacity to do that. Like, I remember my first road trip amongst when I was still a fitness coach. So I was like, I work fully online. I can travel now. Get me out of here. Like, I'm going to travel solo for the first time. And all I did was work.
Yeah.
Like, I would just go to different Airbnbs. Like, I made it up the coast, like to the Gold Coast or something. I saw some friends along the way. I went on a couple nature walks, but I just worked the whole time. And I was so stressed about money the whole way. And, you know, it's like, okay, if you want the lifestyle of being able to travel a lot, do you have the capacity to do that? Are you someone that can move through the change? So even, you know, if you want a life of freedom, there is the nervous system adjustments from being booked out all the time with your life or committed to things all the time. Even you don't have to be nomadic, you know, but if you want that freedom, the nervous system actually needs time to adjust.
Yeah, it does. You need to like stabilize to a new baseline, and that does not happen quickly. That happens through like how you show up daily over a long period of time.
Yeah, and then the healing aspect as well, and this won't like relate to everyone, but or actually even if you want to give advice to a friend, say, that advice is not going to really mean anything unless you're living and breathing it. So regardless of being a healer, like if you just want to be a positive force for other people, you can't just be telling them what to do. I found like if you just tell someone what to do and you're not embodying it, it's like so offensive. Like, or like it
So is
like it. Yeah, it just doesn't.
It
just
sets
doesn't
something
land.
off in you, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
you just like
Like a
what
distortion.
are you even saying? Yeah, and it's like
Yeah.
you can't receive it. You reject it if it's not embodied.
So there's the whole journey to becoming like being like practicing what you preach, really, which is like relevant for everyone.
Yeah.
So where to next for you? So you're nomadic now. You're
Yeah.
able to travel and you do sessions in person and online.
Yeah. So it's been, I mean, I'm only just sort of like touching down on the timeline, right? So I'm sort of like, as much as I can, just appreciating that I've arrived. Like I'm trying not to skip how meaningful it is that I'm here now. Because going back to 2018 when I pierced time and like saw myself living this way, I came out of the meditation and I was almost sick, seriously. Because I was like, how could that ever possibly be my reality? Like, what the fuck? Like, am I delusional? Like, what was that? Like, I couldn't imagine it. Like, I could not imagine it because I was already working as a healer then, but I was charging literally $70 for a session.
Wow.
And I was like being like, okay, so how many sessions would I have to do a week to like make enough? And I'm like doing the calculations, and I'm just like, it'll never happen. But the person I was then could not even imagine charging more than $70 for like life-changing energy work. Like, I couldn't even come to terms with, I couldn't imagine it, I couldn't conceive it. And for a long time it was like, it was my North Star, but I didn't really believe it. I was like, there's so far. But I also didn't have the detail that it was going to take me 8 years as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm just really appreciating that. I'm going to make a note of that to myself. Like, I'm so happy to be here. But next, I can feel... I guess next is collaboration. And so, like, that's why, like, catching up with you today is so good. Because, like...
It's really fell into place.
It feels so good because I think for between then and now, a lot of the time, one thing that sucked was that I felt like everyone around me, I was giving advice to, energy to, healing to, and it wasn't coming back. It didn't feel reciprocal. And I've worked a lot on that. That's been one of the main things I've had to work on to get to a point where it's working. And now what's next is making sure that like there's a sort of like a distinction between like my collaborators and my peers, and you know, the people, I want the people in my life to really to have done what I did recently. Like, I don't want to be the example in my own circle. I don't want to have to always be the example. I want to be like just talking, and we're living the same reality. Like, we're doing the same thing. We have you know, similar enough values that it's just like, it's easy, and it's not like, it's not a lesson. Like, the way I'm living is not a lesson to you. You live the same way, and so, you know, what can be born from that place is so exciting to me. So it's like getting to be a bit more diverse, I guess, because I felt like my success has been because I've been so laser point focused on arriving here, that now that I'm here, I can afford to play and I can afford to have fun and be more creative, and just like bring some of the things that I sort of sacrificed to get here back online, such as like being a dancer was so much more fun. You know, there was a lot of fun involved in being a dancer that I do miss. But now I'm like, I can color my life with that exact type of fun now, and it's not distracting me or detracting from what has been important that's gotten me here. Like, I can bring back so much more color and fun, and we can collaborate and we can do creative projects, and yeah, like, that's what's next for me. Just getting to like play after the work and the effort, because it still has been work and it still has been effort, even though it's like not like being physically demanding, but you know, I've had to be very like energetically disciplined. And so next is like bringing back more fun, bringing back more play, that kind of thing.
Wow.
And I might even stop traveling and get like a home again. I'm like, that's not tomorrow, but it is, it's something that I'm starting to gravitate towards again, which feels cool.
Wow.
Yeah.
That sounds so fun and like really powerful. And I feel it's a funny thing, because you have that journey of being like, whoa, actually life is full of distractions, or it's pulling me the wrong way. I'm gonna stop for a minute and come back to myself, and you have to let go then of a lot of it, and it's like, like that wasn't out of alignment, I'll have to let that go. Or even being like, oh, but I love dance, but that's not for right now, it's a different practice. But then when you are back in that centered place and like really aligned and on your path and being true and honest to yourself, and now it's like, oh, now I can come back to dancing, and now I can welcome in more friends, and now I'm discerning and I know what feels good. These friendships will be complementary and expansive, rather than in the past maybe like avoidant or superficial, or you know, whatever they might have been before. Because even I was so surprised that I started DJing. I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
But I have always loved dance music, and it's so different now than if I had done it like 5 years before. And it's like, oh, okay, maybe doing that inner work was actually the key to greater fun. And like, because you think for a minute with the inner work that you almost have to like isolate forever, or like, what do you mean I'll never go to a bar ever again if I'm not drinking? And now it's like, oh, you just do the inner work, and then you can engage better with like the whole of life.
Yeah, for sure. It's cool. And in case anyone needed to hear that, like, I think it is really necessary you're going to have to like trim off the fat a little, and like, you are going to have to, like, if you want to shift your focus inwardly, if this inspires you, like, there are things you have to let go. Definitely. You have to create space for the inner work. You do. And it does mean eliminating some of what you're doing out in 3D. It does. But we've both done it long enough that we're seeing the return of those things in a whole new way, where it's like, I loved dancing so much, but I was living on the cusp of burnout. It sucked. And actually, it didn't suck. It terrified me. Like, I was so afraid of burning out. I never burn out now. Ever. I don't burn out. It's incredible. And like, even like opportunities to dance have been finding me recently. I've been offered things that feel really good. They feel really aligned. And I'm like, I'm a dancer again. Like, it's crazy.
Yeah. And it can come to you.
It can come to me and meet me where I'm at, and doesn't ask me to like leap to be ready for it, or like to be at that level. It's meeting me at the level I'm stable at, which is so good.
That just reminded me, like, you know, earlier you said something about like trying to stretch yourself to make things happen that you want to happen. I just remember a lot of the mentors that I used to work with, I would think like, oh, I need what they're teaching, and I'm going to invest really big money that I do not have, and I will just fucking make it work, because I thought if I get the knowledge on how to do the thing, I can jump ahead. And it still benefited me, all of that knowledge, but it definitely got to a point where I was like, wow, these repayments are killing me. And like, that desperation that I put myself into to fund this huge expansion that I've asked for, like, my clients can feel that, or people around me can feel I really want or need money, or like I need to be successful because of all this pressure I put on it. And when I eventually then started trusting myself and being like, you know what, I've learned enough, and like, I'll just integrate. And it kind of makes me laugh now, because I almost feel like the years that followed that have been integrating all this wisdom that I tried to rush ahead and get. So like, did it actually really speed anything up? Because like, you need time for it to sink into the body anyway. Because like, what is meant for you will come for you. There isn't really any jumping ahead. Like, every effort does make a difference, but if it's like at the cost of your health, you're gonna have to slow down for that later. And anyway, that's popped into my head.
And it's like everything you embody is actually always being matched. So if you want to stop having like certain experiences happen to you, like, oh, you get all these new clients, but actually then after you work with that wave of clients, you're bedridden for the next like 2 months or something. Like, like, what's the... It's not...
point?
Yeah, what's the point? I just sort of lost my train of thought.
That's okay. Like, you always get back what you put out?
Yeah, well, yes. So if you're putting out, I'm in a state of exhaustion doing this work, you are guaranteeing that something's going to have to come your way that matches that. And that's like the inconvenient thing that you don't want anyone to see outwardly, right? But it's still going to get matched. So if you're not in alignment, that what you're doing, you are always in alignment. You're in alignment to the thing that's pulling you out of wholeness, right? So that has to be matched. Just like when you're in alignment and you're doing your work and whatever, like, that will be matched too. So you basically want to, like, you have to stop having these, like, exceptions, right? To stop attracting things that you don't want to happen. So it's like, it's never worth it, because if you're having to create all this inner disharmony, it's gonna get matched. You're going to attract a relationship that's going to put your face in that, in the fact that you're out of alignment, or you're out of alignment with, like, you know, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel yourself. Like, it's always going to get matched. So quit it.
Yeah, and I've definitely noticed, like, I was saying to someone the other day, you would think becoming more aware would make life easier, and it does in terms of ease and joy and whatever. But you get more sensitive, or more attuned, sort of thing. So when something is not for me, I'm like, ugh.
Yes.
Like, I feel
heavy.
it. Yeah. So even though, you know, life is so much better, I feel like the discomfort of something being not right for you is so loud.
So much louder.
It kind of makes me laugh, because, like, say, you know, at some point I was, like, out with people and it was really beautiful and I was having a great time, and then my body was like, oh, it's time to go. And in my head I was like, no, I want to stay, I'm having fun. And my body, it was like fatigue was just like,
yeah.
And but it wasn't actually fatigue, I was fine, but it was my intuition saying, no, I've seen what I needed to see, I've had a great time, it's time to go. And the sensitivity is a gift, but it's kind of just funny, because then the flow will tell you where to go. I feel like, you know, where we start in society, we're taught how to plan things out and make that flow. Like, that's our whole conversation today. And you realize, like, how hard that is to try and build something outside of you. So then you learn to go with the flow, go inwards, and it gets easier and easier. And then the flow itself starts to carry you, I feel.
Yes.
Yeah, because I feel that a lot. Like, especially after Kundalini, that was just an example. The divine was just so loud as to what's for me and what's not. And what's for you becomes a lot easier. But it's like there's this protective bubble of accountability.
Yeah.
Which is amazing, because then you know the things that you want, you're aligning to. And that, like, it's not as hard anymore.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of sadness as to, like, okay, there's no going back to that controlling of life that used to be there.
Maybe it hasn't been our experience that there's any going back. But I'm sure
you could.
Like, well, I feel like I couldn't, honestly. Personally.
I feel like if I tried to go back, the universe, like, kicks me out.
Yeah, okay.
Like, not that I try to,
I think that's because you're
feelings,
just, there's so much of you in the new camp.
Yeah.
It's, like, never enough of a pull. It's like what you're saying, like, the flow, I'm sort of paraphrasing, but, like, the flow ends up with so much momentum that to fight against it is it's too hard. It's like I'm in the current, like it's already taking me. Like I want to get out. Well, that's sort of not an option anymore. Like I think if you invest for long enough, if you get deep enough, then there's no getting out of that momentum. I think at a certain point there is no going back.
Yeah. Which is cool.
That is, yeah, it's cool. If you're game, if you're willing.
Literally.
Yeah.
Then it's funny, like you said earlier, when you were really focused on your career, you pierced, like, the future, and then you could see, like, oh, this future success that I want is actually not on this path. It's actually not going to come from just this hard work or whatever you think it is. And then, you know, now 8 years later, I don't know about you, but, like, I do feel this immense success. And sometimes it, like, scares me, where I'm like, oh my god, it's so big. But I don't have to do anything to build it, and, like,
it's your state
just coming. Or it is.
You already feel it. You're already, like, you are that successful person because you wake up and you are that person. That's become your baseline. And it's sort of like, to get that, you have to first sort of, like, prioritize creating that as a frequency state. And then that becomes where you're stable, and then success meets you there. You know, it's like, it's so reverse, but it works. It actually works.
I'm just thinking like of you could say like the finance bro energy, where guys or mindset coaches or whatever, they're like, wake up at 5 a.m, like sun, swim, workout, meditate, and like this list of things to do to be successful. And there are benefits in these practices, but that forcing of the structure is not the frequency state. Like, I just felt like to make a distinction between, you know, frequency is the self-care, and yes, like the morning routine is there, or the structure, or the self-nourishment, and it's whatever works for you. But it's not just like ticking things off a list, because that's actually the same you know, behavior as before.
Definitely. We have to share, like, from our own experience, what we actually do, like, kind of day to day, right?
Day to day, yes.
Yeah, what do we do? What are our practices? How are we living this frequency life?
Yeah. Do you want to go first?
I want you to go first.
Oh, okay. I love waking up early, but I definitely don't always, because more than anything, I actually love to work. And so sometimes I just find myself working late. And I think as a generator in human design, I just go with that now. And like yesterday, I was kind of working until like 12:30. Just reassessing some things and doing some music stuff. And I was like, I can't sleep until this is done. I don't want to wind down until that's done. So I had a great time doing that. So this morning, instead, I woke up at 8 a.m. Anyway, it's just my wake up time's relaxed.
Yeah.
I walk the dog, so I try and get sunlight in my eyes as soon as I can. I came back and had breakfast, and I usually love to journal in the morning. I journal pretty much every day. Oh my god, this dog.
That's so cute.
If you're watching the video, this dog is so sweet. Just came to cuddle.
Needed some chest time. So cute.
I love to journal, and my mind is always like overflowing with words. So writing is really helpful for me to get them out of my brain. And, you know, when a documentary is made of me, we will have, you know, the history all written out. That's something that I say. So walk, sunlight in my eyes, journal, and then I'll either do some work, if that is... It really depends on what I feel like now. I have an ongoing to-do list. I have a program where I can track, like, what's happening in my business. So if it's preparing music for a gig, if it's editing a podcast, getting reels from the podcast. Sometimes I'll remind myself to post content like, oh, I have a whole bunch of photos of my life just living that I should actually get out there, or write an email. But those things happen in the flow of like what needs to be done. I used to say write an email every week, and I just don't resonate with that anymore. I'll only do it if there's like a reason to. I will obviously have clients, or I will see people. And I, especially at the moment, because I've been house sitting, I do spend a lot of time just, say, seeing people or meeting their pets or going between houses and things like that. But I personally feel that's actually a part of my healing work and is an important part of my journey at the moment.
Yeah.
So a few years ago, I would have been, say, annoyed by how much time that takes up. But now I'm like, oh, it's actually a practice of trust where, you know, I get my clients like sprinkled throughout the month, and then I just live my life and serve and be present with the magic of life, whatever that needs of me. If that is like looking after pets or meeting up with people. And I go to the beach a lot. I need that grounding. And then I do a little bit of movement at the moment, like yoga, walking, or qigong, and trying to do more qigong. Cooking a hearty meal is a good way for me to ground, and I'll just cook a couple times a week. And then in the evenings, I am so chill about like relaxing with a TV show or like a book, I do so much self-reflection also all the time. Day, every day, I'll think about something and then reflect on that and implement that, or take breaks. I nap a lot, actually. Yeah, that's really my day.
Amazing. Yeah, so many amazing things in that. And that's you sort of like walking us through like a standard day for you. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll just say something I used to struggle with was working to fill the time.
Yeah.
And I realized that that's actually like, we're actually afraid of how potent life itself is. And work is kind of like a drug where we can like subdue the intensity and the magic of life. Like life itself is a bit of a trip.
Real talk.
Yeah. Life itself is such a trip, and for me, when I was just working all the time, it was just so I didn't have to be present.
Yeah.
And now that through practice, I'm like comfortable with the magic of life. So many beautiful things pop up. Like one of my house sits was with a woman, Sarah, and she was a full-time tarot reader. And I was like, oh, I read tarot as well. And she had tarot all over her walls. And when I went to meet her, I didn't have any work planned for that day. And she just said she really wanted a coffee, and she said she didn't have any money. I was like, I'll buy you a coffee, it's fine. And she was like, okay, great, pick a deck, I'll give you a reading. And we went to the coffee shop, hung out, we both had stories to tell. She did a reading for me, and then she let me borrow the cards. And then a month later, she said, just keep the cards. And I felt like that deck of cards chose me, and it's been like really amazing. And then even when I house sat for her, that was just a meetup. We ended up having dinner together, and she so reflected my mum. And it was like I was able to have a conversation and express certain things that I had felt to someone that was not personally involved. And she expressed her side. Like, it was just this really beautiful, magical conversation. And I was like, oh, good thing all of my work can be done tomorrow.
Yeah.
Because this moment was so powerful, and I journaled on it after. I was like, I literally feel like the main quest was to go to the house, get the accommodation confirmed, whatever. And then there was this whole side quest where by being present, the magical priestess woman could come forward with a, like, here's your next adventure. Like, it just felt like such a game.
Yeah.
But another experience that comes to mind, I mentioned this in the last podcast. I stayed at one house sit with a man and met him, felt totally safe with him, and I trust my body and how I feel. And then after, did the sit where he wasn't home, but he said I could stay a little bit longer if I needed to, and my other house sit cancelled. And immediately I'm like, oh, where am I going to stay? I have friends and family I can stay with. What do I want to do? He said, yeah, I was welcome to stay. So I just did, because I felt safe in my body. And after a few days, he then emotionally dumped onto me and revealed that he had a restraining order against him. And I'm like, okay, well, no judgment, but like, I can't be here anymore. And I ended up charging him for a session, which he offered to pay for. But then, like, I said, yes, you actually can pay me for that. And said, well, I'm going to go then. And I was a little shook by that experience, but I can't even begin to tell you the power that got locked into my body by setting the boundary, and this deep knowing that I was safe. Like, there was no regret in that, and that because I am really connected to my truth and could step into that power, we were both meant to have that experience. So it wasn't like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm housing, I'm so a vulnerable solo woman, I should never have done that, I should pay rent because of this and that. It's like, no, this is my path in this moment, and I got to reclaim that and heal from other times where my boundaries have been crossed, or especially in the past where I have let my boundaries be crossed and where I've put myself into really vulnerable positions. And that couldn't have happened if I, wasn't listening to my body and allowing this magical path like to unfold.
Totally.
Yeah, and so much of my life now, I love working, but I don't work as much as I used to, but the work is every moment.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's what people pay me for as well, that level of embodiment.
Yeah, totally. It's like so much of like making frequency focused living work is sort of disentangling yourself from the structures you have imposed on yourself from a place that isn't integrated enough, that isn't a part of the whole, right? Mm-hmm. It's like you've got this little like watcher who's just like, you need this on your schedule, and the more you realize it came from there or wherever it came from for you, the more you could just like, you're back in the whole where you like feel the present moment, and the present moment can find you and bring you all the yummy magical gifts and synchronicities and the stuff that makes life feel like magic and special and like more alive.
Yeah, and because we think it's like a big scary world out there, and obviously shit fucking happens. Like there's plenty of scary things happen, but like when you just mentioned that, the watcher that's like, no, you have to do this and you cannot go there and you need to be safe. The world actually is not that. That's just a voice that like you've instilled on yourself. And when that watcher part of you, you know, that's there for good reason, like to keep you safe, but when that's dominating your life, like you live in this vulnerable prison cell where so many things, like you are afraid of so many things like happening. And when you start to be like, that's not my true essence and that's not the truth, and dismantle that, it's like, oh, the actual world is not like that. Like it's this huge playground that we can interact with.
Yeah.
And I, especially now through years of embodiment, like I'm such a big believer that my frequency protects me. So back years ago, being scared of traveling or scared of living in other people's homes or just scared of strangers, shit would happen to me like way more often. And now that I trust myself and like something might happen and it literally won't touch me. Like any negative interaction won't lead into anything, or if I see some dangerous thing happen in some way, it's like not anywhere near me. It's like operating in the world in a totally different way. I just feel like I have this frequency bubble that protects me.
You.
It doesn't mean that you're immune to things. Like the story with that guy was still like confronting, just so people know, like no matter whatever level of awareness you have, you're still interacting with the world. But I don't feel like a vulnerable little baby.
Yeah. You don't feel like you're doing anything to like make it more probable that something could go awry.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Tell us about your day.
Right. Yeah, so I feel like I want to speak about it less day to day and more so wait, what am I answering? What are my frequency things? What are the things I do that allow me to like hone my frequency?
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay. I thought you just meant like, what do I do in a day?
Oh yeah, in a day.
Well,
yeah. No, it's good. It's good. I think just when I answer it for myself,
whatever.
The first point. Let me explain. So, for me, it's been really about taking the tempo of each day, or not even each day, but like I like to know what the sort of chapter I'm in is asking of me. I like to know, well, what is my focus? Maybe not today, but like at the moment. And I sort of like get a sense of like where I'm at, like what is going on in the chapter that I'm in, and so because of the chapter I'm in, what's required of me inside that chapter. So I I wouldn't say that I have, like, I'm not like punctual with my days. Like, I don't have like a set thing that I do every day. I'm more thinking like, what do I need? What am I doing for this chapter? And so the days can actually be very varied. And I find that when I think of things less daily and more like that, that's a great like first step for me to like really maintain my frequency. That I know what's being asked of me for this little chapter I'm in. So, so that's one thing. But some things that are very happening all the time, like definitely daily, is I'm really looking for like what component of myself is sort of like involved in its healing journey right now. Like, am I working with my inner child? Versus am I working with like my lineage or my genetics? Versus am I working with my soul? Versus is the focus actually on my relationship dynamics right now? And is it relationship dynamics, period? Or is it like this specific relationship with that person, or this specific dynamic across all relationships? Like, you know, I'm like getting the sense of like, where is my work right now? Where is my healing work right now? My energetic work right now? And I find that if I know exactly what I say, like where the cursor is flashing for me right now, that alleviates anxiety, which is like, for me, like I'd say like my greatest challenge is that I can feel really anxious. And I still, you know, still got continued work to do to keep that at bay, and not even to keep it at bay, but to like make sure that I'm not avoiding anxiety if it's present. And that's one way that I find that my anxiety gets really neutralized, if I know where my work is at. Because then I'm like not avoiding it at all. It's like, yeah, I'm working through that. Or like if something happens and I'm just like, I wouldn't go, because I'm like, well, knowing where I'm at right now, what my healing work is right now, that makes a lot of sense that that's showing up. And, you know, it's sort of like, some could say it takes a surprise out of life. But for me, it makes things make sense, which I love. So always knowing where my healing work is at, and that really helps. And then something else is that I am so focused on how I feel physically. And when I say that, I mean I could be talking about that on many different levels, but what I'm talking about when I say that is I want to feel perfectly balanced between like my left and right sides, between like my grounded, anchored physicality and my expanded, you know, spiritual nature. I want to feel balanced, left to right, up to down. I want to feel balanced. So I will do something to create that balance. Be that yoga or a walk where the intention is to create that balance. Even just sit, meditate to create that balance. I have to feel balanced. Something else is like intuitive eating. Like I find that when I'm too structured with how I eat, it's less productive for me than productive. Like when I say productive, I mean like conducive to holding my frequency. For me to be intuitive with my eating, or at least like in the chapter I'm in, intuitive eating is great, and then maybe like next chapter, actually more structure feels better right now. So I let myself be flexible with that. And then one thing that's like been so key at like, it's really helped me shift being in my frequency to an even more potent level, and that's like making sure I have the exact right support team, that I'm working with people that are really providing me with the exact resource that I need if I'm not able to like create it inwardly. And I can be a little bit, maybe that's my toxic trait, that I feel like it all has to be self-sourced. So I've really loosened that lately, and I've gone, no, like even I need like support, right? Like I need support. I need to be working with a really great healer if I need a healer. I need to be working with a great therapist if I need a great therapist.
Yeah.
I need to be going to an amazing yoga teacher if I don't want to be doing my own self-directed practice. Like, I've got the right people positioned to support me. That makes... I can't believe it's taken me this long to really get that as well, because I used to be so much more about, like, if I can't source it in-house, that's that's not the best I can do. Like, I was like that. But I've really let people support me. And also, I've found that it's been a lot better when I've not made that my friend's responsibility at all. That if any, like, support that comes my way from a friend is going to come, it's going to come easier if I don't expect it or require it.
Yeah.
So
Totally.
keeping the team correct. Have I missed anything important? Well, I guess the other thing is that I spend a lot of time talking to my friends who also practice living this way about the breakthroughs that they're having that are really helping them hone their frequency. Because I might not take what they're doing, but hearing what they're doing, it's sort of like it inspires me. It might inspire like a thought for me, or like a pathway that I hadn't considered for me. And it will give me like another route, another skill, another tactic to better hold my frequency. Am I being a bit too vague?
No,
Do I need
this
to be a bit
is
more
all
specific?
fascinating. It makes sense. I didn't think that was vague.
Yeah.
It's so perfect. Like, because I literally just went back to Melbourne for Christmas to see my family, and I had a minute of being like, am I crazy? Like, just again, like, and it's because at one point I was in the room with my family, and I just thought, do they think I'm unemployed? Like, like, I just had this so strange, because my family, they really support me, but they still don't understand. They do not understand what I do. And then I later saw my friends like Margaret and Nathaniel, who are like super sovereign people, self-employed like us. They do the healing work, like Joe Dispenza, she got all the things. And I was just with them, and I was like, oh, these are my people, and they see me. And like, it's the grounding I find with people that are also living and breathing this, like, so important.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, I'm not unemployed. Like,
Yeah.
I just remember being with my family, like, hang on.
In case any of you were thinking that I'm unemployed, I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay?
I work. But,
That's funny.
and as soon as I saw my friends, I was like, wow, that thought really came out of nowhere. But I love all of that you shared. And when you said knowing the healing work that you're doing,
Yes.
that is so important, because even like I said before, the more you aware become, the work doesn't stop. And even just simply say, like, from an astrological perspective, the stars are always moving, so the energy that's getting pumped through the planet is always changing. So even if you're this perfectly enlightened being, you're still going to experience all these changes in energy, which change the behavior of people and society and all these things. In one of my episodes, I talked about, like, one of my experiences, and I've had a couple of comments over the years of people like, if you really had this experience, you wouldn't be on YouTube. Or like, if you really had this experience, you wouldn't have any challenges ever again.
Good luck with that. Good luck with that.
You don't reach a state and then disappear off the face of the earth.
No.
We're still here having the human experience. And it was funny because then I had this guy comment who has died twice. He's at near-death experiences, that you die and he's had experiences and come back. And he commented randomly one day and said, like, I fully understand exactly where you're coming from. And the people that say you never experience difficulty again, he said they haven't experienced it.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I was saying before, knowing what you're moving through is so helpful, because stuff comes up anyway.
Yeah.
And it's when we avoid that entirely that, that's when the universe will shock you.
Yeah.
Because it's coming up for a reason.
That's exactly how to induce a catastrophe.
Yeah. And like the last podcast I did with Carly, the astrologer, and she was talking about the planets and the impacts that they can have. And it just made me think, like, yeah, some of the planets are rough. And I don't, like, you don't want to give energy away where you're a victim to the planet sort of thing. But, for example, she mentioned in my charts, I have Saturn in Pisces, and Saturn rules the feet. And she said, do you have problems with your feet? And I was like, that's funny, because I don't have problems with my feet. I was like, but I do so much work to heal my feet after years of dancing. And I wear like toe spacers to stretch out my toes and get them back in, and I wear barefoot shoes and blah blah blah. And I just thought, you know what, I actually have known for a while I have to do this preventative work to restore my feet. So even though you don't want to be giving your power away to these forces, but I also do believe we do feel their energy, these forces, they're always coming through life.
Yeah.
And when you know about them and you can hold them, it's a much easier experience.
And you can like tune into them via the lens of astrology. You could tune into that via the lens of like the gene keys, or like all these different systems that exist out there. But you can also just like keep up to date with the new theme on the horizon for you by just like tuning in and requesting to see that, which is the way I go. Like I just find astrology like too roundabout for me personally, but and that's only because I haven't spent the time really studying it like other people have.
It can become convoluted.
It can become convoluted, and it can become an excuse or a distraction really easily. And it likewise can be an amazing tool to work with, and almost like a predictor of what to expect. But my favorite way to keep my finger on the pulse is just to tune in and see what's on the surface. Because like I also understand that that's a gift that I have. Like I know that that's not every average person's like experience, because I know that like a lot of like I've seen people get into really disastrous places inside their own psyche by just tuning in to see what comes up. It's definitely something that you have to like figure out how to do it safely. I'm gonna make a point of that.
Yeah,
really important
I
point of that.
can relate.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, when you mentioned having like your team supporters, I wanted to say like that's such a CEO mindset. Like back when I had business coaches, it was like build your team, like CEO mindset. But it is legit, and in like comparison, I invested so much into mentors, which was so worthwhile. But then it got to a point of being like, oh, okay, I've actually learned all the knowledge side, or embodied a little bit, and now I actually just have to do it myself for a minute. And so I would say been a few years without a constant mentor, because I used to have long-term mentors. But along the way, I'll go as far as I can on my own and trusting myself, and then being like, but you know what? There's a huge blind spot here, and I see this like gaping hole in my energy. I need a session. And then when I book those sessions in now, healing sessions or like spinal energetics or getting a reading or something, they can fill that gap so you can like walk across.
Yes.
And I also used to have personal trainers for years, and obviously before that dance training, and I just now I'm coming back to like working qigong now, because I feel my lesson at the moment is like grounding the energy and working with my energy body before like exercise. But having that physical accountability again is so nice, and having the team is so valuable. That's just my point.
Yeah, for sure.
Like different aspects that people can help you with to elevate and like be grounded.
Yeah, and I guess that discernment just develops, doesn't it, with whether or not something is a crutch or actually helping. And you just get more honest with yourself, don't you?
Yeah. I think in the past as well, someone would just say something great and I'd be like, oh, I should work with them. But now being like, well, a lot of people have a lot of great things to offer, but what do I need? Because, you know, in the past I'd just be like, oh, they look like an amazing trainer. I want that right now. then that's fine. But now being like, oh, okay, I have to be honest with myself. I feel like I really need qigong, and my body is asking for this energetic grounding. Even though I would love to just go and take a whole bunch of dance classes, I might just do this, and this is what the body needs, and then like the next teacher will appear.
Yeah. Fully. Oh, I just thought of like a really key thing that I do to homo frequency, and it ties to something you shared as well. I make sure that I have like a lot of time where I am idling pleasantly. It's so important that there is like time in your schedule to drift, where it's like, yeah, next 6 hours is absolutely nothing on the agenda, and then you can just like sort of choose your own adventure for that time. And just like, I think I have learned that if I drift, that's exact when I'm in drift mode, that's when I get the best invitations. Every time I am like in a drift, and just like being in a drift is just like, I'm only doing this because it's just, I felt like doing that, which led to this and that and this and that and that. And then lo and behold, I've been doing that for 3 hours, and then I just checked my phone and like someone booked a session, or like I have this whole new offer coming in now. And so it almost seems like the thing the universe responds to with the best opportunities is idling pleasantly. Just doing something you didn't even plan to do. You're just like, I'm doing this because this is exactly what the moment called for, and I'm so in it, and I'm just, and you often get like little signs that you're in that flow, because that's the moment you're going to synchronistically meet up with someone you've been like thinking of, or you run into someone you haven't seen in ages, and then you get to like share how you've been, and then it lifts your mood, which was already good, to like a better level. And like, or you like get a little hit about like a new podcast to listen to or something. Like those things that end up opening whole new arcs happen when you're idling pleasantly. So I always idle pleasantly.
That's such a good one. With that, I find often like some of my deepest processing will happen in those moments.
Yeah.
Like I love when I have nothing on a day, and it's funny because I work most days, but I'll have what I want to do that day. But for me, I'm like, oh, I have nothing on. I'll do it like when I get the invitation sort of thing. Like it will just flow. And then sometimes I'll be idling instead, and I just don't want to do any work.
Yeah.
And I've learned to like surrender into those moments. If I'm not taking action, it's for a reason. And sometimes I'll be like, why am I thinking about this thing? Or why am I reflecting on that? And then all this stuff will come up like, oh, I didn't realize I felt that way. Now I can sit with that. Oh, that's funny because that's from the past. Feel it. Oh. And now I feel great.
It's resolved. Yeah.
And like when we're busy all the time, you don't realize how much stuff gets backed up waiting to integrate. I feel like it's a lot about like the aura as well, needing to release stuff that's not yours, to clear out other people's energy, and like you got to be out of your mind, but like not so heavily thinking to allow this like energetic movement to happen.
1000%.
And
couldn't
open
agree
up.
with you more.
This has been so good.
This has been so good that I know we both felt it, didn't we?
Thank you so much for coming and sharing all your wisdom. It's been so fun. I hope everyone enjoyed.
Yeah. No, thanks for having me. This has been so good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, we're living in frequency, people. This is it.
1000%.
Can you please tell people where they can find you and how they can work with you?
Yeah, of course. So you can just find me on Instagram. My Instagram handle is @Takumbo. We'll put it in the show notes.
We'll put it in a caption thing.
Yeah. And I'm pretty old school. Just DM me if you're interested in working with me. I do energy readings, and if I'm in your city, I do energetic body work as well.
Yeah, and I can vouch for Jessie because I had an amazing session with her last year now. It was great, really helpful. Really brought me back to my center.
Good. Thank you for saying so.
Thanks everyone. We'll talk again soon. I hope you enjoyed. Please leave a comment or, share this with anyone that would resonate. Like, subscribe, all that. All right. Bye. So big thanks to Jessie for joining us on that episode. We were both just chatting after about how much we loved that conversation. So we hope you enjoyed it as well. Be sure to connect with Jessie. And as usual, my sessions are open and available as well. I have healing sessions, intuitive readings, human design readings, or also the mini intuitive readings. If you just have one question that you want answered, I can give you some potent guidance to help you on your way, and you can book that through my website. And yeah, if you love this episode, please share it with anybody that resonates, drop us a like or a comment or subscribe. It all makes a really big difference to getting the podcast out there. So yeah, much love. Thanks. Bye.